Hey, what's up? This is John, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Blu-ray from Severin Films of Extra Terrestrial Visitors.
What should I do? It's getting late. I'm feeling blue. Why can't I think it's only one of the jokes? I can hear the sound of a cry and I'm feeling blue.
It stinks.
The story of Extraterrestrial Visitors is one that most people are going to be pretty familiar with. Basically, anybody who's seen E.T., because this film definitely capitalizes on the major cultural significance and popularity of that film. An alien ship hurtles through space, crash lands on Earth, and an alien parent gets separated from its baby. A couple of differences are, one, when the kid Tommy meets up with the alien for the first time, he just finds a giant egg that he picks up and takes home. Now, we've seen a glimpse of what these creatures can look like, but Tommy doesn't really have any clue what's in here, and it could be anything from E.T. to the alien. So he's taking a brave risk and taking this thing home.
I don't know what frightens the guys more, my face or my intelligence.
Another major difference between Extraterrestrial Visitors and E.T. is that all the stuff that doesn't involve Tommy and the alien that he finds is basically a slasher film. And depending on which alternate title or cover art you found this under back in the day, would probably come as something of a surprise.
Did you see that? Did you see it?
Now, some people might fault this movie for taking a minute to kind of fire up, but I was pretty entertained from the start. I think the special effects of the outer space to Earth crash are really fun and pretty convincing. I think that the poachers who are in the woods in the beginning aren't outstanding characters, but their dialogue and the way that they're dubbed definitely had me laughing.
Jesus, that little bitch can run a lot faster than I thought.
Well, you're a jerk.
And I didn't mind the detour of the music group recording their song before they end up on the camping trip that brings them to the woods where all the action takes place.
Okay, good.
But the main attraction here is our little alien friend, Trumpy.
You like that name, don't you, Trumpy? I'm your friend.
If you're gonna love this movie, you gotta love Trumpy. And guys, I love Trumpy.
He's really good.
Good. He's the best.
I love the design of Trumpy. He's sort of like our man here, Alf. An important distinction between Trumpy and Alf that I would like to note is that Trumpy has no problem whatsoever coexisting with cats. In fact, one of the cutest things I've ever seen is a scene when Trumpy is looking at all of Tommy's animals and just petting a kitten. It is just adorable. The many stages of design of Trumpy are all really cool. I like when we see him tiny and goopy coming out of an egg. I really like when he's like 1.5 feet tall and Tommy is feeding him cereal and telling him that he's gonna teach him how to play. It's really freaking cute. And then pretty much right after that, Trumpy starts eating so much food that he starts growing at an insane rate.
You're unbelievable.
I think that there's something kind of inherently disturbing about growing really, really fast because humans age and grow so slowly. But when that does happen to Trumpy in this movie, the movie kind of softens the blow by just showing him in a stoned food coma because he's basically eaten everything in the pantry from cornflakes to cat food. Other great qualities that Trumpy has are that he has a vacuum for a nose and that he's also telekinetic, which isn't explored fully necessarily, but does lead to a really cool stop motion sequence.
Oh, that's neat.
So as I mentioned, ETV is basically a slasher film with a kid's film stuck in the middle. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that the director, Juan Piquer Simon, who just made the fantastic slasher Pieces right before he made this, had set out to make a movie about an evil alien.
It was that weird animal, and if we stay here, it'll kill us all.
But I guess at some point he must have been persuaded by producers or whomever to add a kid-friendly part to the script and just capitalize on the massive success of E.T., which also came out 1 year before it.
It'll all be all right. I know where we can get help.
Some people probably don't think that he did a great job at either part, but I like both parts of it, and I think that the tonal dissonance actually makes this movie more realistic.
And you think you know it all, don't you?
In real life, there are so many things that we work so hard to shield and protect children from, and I think that this story of Tommy off to the side up in his room chilling with Trumpy while every other character is dealing with a more serious and dire situation is just how it would go. And don't get me wrong, the slasher part of this is totally weird and it definitely seems toned down because of the kid stuff. And it's not like there's any blood in this movie. And the way that the adult alien takes care of people is extremely silly. The parent alien is understandably pissed off, territorial, and slap happy. If you get slapped by this alien, you pretty much just die. And I'm not sure if there is some magic involved. A lot of these people who get slapped are left with this constellation pattern on their forehead, but like a lot of things in this movie, it's left pretty unclear, but in a way that's really fun, that's gonna make you want to rewatch this movie and just try to figure out what the heck is going on and what were they thinking.
Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, honey.
So who is this movie for? Who was it made for? In 1983, the answer seems like no one, but 40 years later in 2023, it is just, to me, a cult movie lover's dream come true.
Marvelous. You were all great.
It's got so many goofy moments. Some I think that were made more famous by its Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode from the early 90s. The music in this movie is mostly a lot of fun. There's some synth stuff at the beginning and a couple of pop tracks on the soundtrack, and Severin was even cute enough to include a CD with this release, and I had a lot of fun driving around yesterday listening to some of these ETV jams.
Hear the engines roar now. Hear the engines roar now. Hear the engines roar now.
I also think one thing from this movie that is very silly and adds to this cult appeal is that this French and Spanish co-production at times really likes to shout, "We are in America." And the way that they do that is just by having things like a picture of George Washington up on the wall or a poster of Ronald Reagan. Anytime they can stick a little American flag anywhere, they do. There's a character who asks if Dallas is on TV, which is great, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. I ain't gonna fault the movie for bringing that up.
Seeing other people's problems makes me forget mine.
And the absolute silliest instance of any of this stuff is inexplicably on the exterior of the house where a lot of the action takes place. There's just a little square outside on the front of the building, a little green square that just says Sprite. And I kind of feel like if you wanted to be like, I am the most diehard ETV fan and, you know, want to say it in the most deep cut kind of a way, just go to the fridge and either take the label off of a 2-liter or cut your 12-pack and just stick a Sprite label to the front of your house. And that'll let everybody know that you are a big fan of Extra Terrestrial Visitors from 1983.
Are you crazy?
I'm really glad that my first experience with this movie was the cleaned up Severin edition that looks great, that I got to watch projected big on the wall at home in as close to a theatrical experience as possible, which is not to knock the MST3K version. I'm sure it's great, and I would say any gateway to this film is awesome. This is a movie that I am planning on, I've already watched twice, and that I am planning on revisiting as much as possible. Really, if I can find anybody who wants to watch it with me, I will watch it again.
Have you seen Trumpy?
I'm really happy that I own this movie, and as I say, I'll be going back for more.
Oh boy, you sure are greedy, aren't you?
One other thing I do want to say about Severin that feels pretty important is to note that Severin in the last month just had their entire YouTube page taken down, and I'm not sure what the violation or supposed violation was, but it's a lot of work that people put into channels, and like their channel was huge and had been up for years. So I'm hoping that YouTube in the future comes up with a better solution, a way to identify a video if there is a problem, to remove it or edit it or whatever needs to be done. But I think removing an entire channel and an entire body of work seems like really the wrong thing to do.
It stinks.
Severin just started a new YouTube page. I will leave the link for that down below so that we can all help them rebuild a following.
You're gonna grow really big and strong.
So I just think it's really important to use this platform and social media to just speak up and try to have a better system come about. That is it for this review. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna have links in the box below to my social media if you'd also like to follow me on there. And as I said, a link to Severin's new YouTube channel so we can help them out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
So long, super stud.